First of all, we will be lowering the target for study permits by 10% in 2025 over 2024, and will be maintaining this level for 2026. That means that we are aiming to deliver up to 437 study permits in 2025 and 2026, which would represent a decrease of approximately 36% over 2023. Then we will exempt fewer students from the cap. That means that people who weren't included in that cap in January, that is, people who are master's or PhD students, will be taken into account in this cap.
Looking at the numbers, you will see the number I announced is higher as part of the first measure I'm taking, and that's because of Measure 2, in which we are carving in master's and PhD programs. So simply put, the international student cap is here to stay. Certains étudiants étrangers sont mieux.
Some international students are better prepared to integrate and succeed in Canada, particularly postgraduate students who meet the needs of the Canadian labour market, and that is why we are reserving about 12% of the available cap for these students, and we will be aligning the post-graduation work permit program with our economic priorities.
Years, and I think this is important, we expect these changes to yield approximately 300,000 fewer study permits. À partir du Ça, c'est la troisième mesure.
That was the third measure. As of November 1st, we will be introducing new language proficiency requirements for post-graduation work permit applicants, aligned with the requirements of the permanent residence streams.
Language benchmark, CLB, level 7 for university graduates and CLB 5 for college graduates will be required for anyone applying for post-graduation work permit on or after November 1st of 2024. We know that people that can speak the language are
all right, starting to get a little technical here, so let me jump in. We're following this breaking news out of Ottawa. The Trudeau government is further reducing its own cap on international students, cutting it by another 10%. Here's how that's going to play out. Next year, the number of international student permits will be reduced down to 485,000, will be reduced by 10%. For some context, there were more than 1 million international students in Canada back in 2023. That was an increase of almost 30% over the previous year. As well, foreign temporary workers, there were more than 1 million of them in Canada in 2023. And that does not include permanent residents who were allowed to come to Canada and become permanent residents, another 500,000 or so. You can see what this has done. A lot of pressure on the government to act because of the housing crisis, affordability crisis. So now they are drastically cutting the number. The immigration minister there, Mark Miller, basically admitting that we've allowed this to go too far and for too long. The number of newcomers we know has put a strain on Canadian society. Housing, public services, infrastructure, and unemployment issues. Now the government choosing to act to try and cut down some of those.